Title: The Echoes of Silver Strings. In the heart of a city draped in shadows, where the once vibrant streets echoed with laughter and song, silence reigned supreme. The government had deemed music a threat, a force capable of inciting rebellion and unrest. They had outlawed all forms of melody, and those who dared to play were swiftly silenced. Yet, in the depths of an abandoned theater, 3 figures gathered under the flickering light of a single bulb, their long, white hair cascading like silken waterfalls against their leather jackets. Ryder, the guitarist, cradled his electric guitar like a long-lost lover. His fingers, adorned with rings that glinted in the dim light, danced over the strings as he strummed a haunting melody that seemed to awaken the very walls around them. Beside him, Luna, the bassist, plucked at her instrument with a fierce elegance, her eyes gleaming with a wild passion that spoke of rebellion. And on the other side, Thorn, the drummer, pounded the beat with a primal intensity, his long hair flying like a banner of defiance. They called themselves the Echoes, a name that resonated with the whispers of the past, and they were determined to bring music back to the people, even if it meant risking everything. As they practiced late into the night, the sound of their music began to seep through the cracks of the theater, drifting into the streets like a forgotten dream. The first few notes were tentative, but soon their rhythm grew bold and powerful, reverberating through the empty alleys and into the hearts of those who had long forgotten the joy of song. It was as if the very essence of the city stirred awake, drawn to the silver strings of their instruments. But with every note they played, they drew the attention of the Enforcers, an elite group tasked with maintaining the silence. The Enforcers were ruthless, and their leader, Commander Voss, was a man who believed that music was chaos incarnate. He had sworn to eliminate any trace of melody from the city, and the Echoes had unwittingly become his target. One fateful night, as the trio prepared for their first public performance, a secret concert in the heart of the city, they heard the distant sound of sirens wailing through the darkness. The air crackled with tension, and Ryder's heart raced as he exchanged glances with Luna and Thorn. They had known the risks, but the thought of performing for the people ignited a fire within them that could not be extinguished. With a final nod of determination, they took to the makeshift stage, their instruments gleaming under the pale moonlight. As they struck the first chord, the world around them seemed to hold its breath. The music poured out of them like a torrent, a blend of raw energy and haunting beauty that echoed through the streets. The crowd began to gather, drawn by the sound like moths to a flame, their faces alight with hope and longing. But just as the crescendo reached its peak, the Enforcers burst onto the scene, their heavy boots thudding against the pavement. Commander Voss stood at the forefront, his eyes cold and unyielding. "Stop this madness," he bellowed, raising his hand to silence them. Yet, in that moment, something extraordinary happened. The crowd, emboldened by the music, surged forward, blocking the Enforcers' path. The power of the song had united them, igniting a spark of rebellion that had long been smothered. The Echoes played on, pouring their hearts into every note, their long, white hair swirling like a storm as they defied the very forces that sought to silence them. As the final chord rang out, a wave of emotion swept through the crowd, and for the first time in years, the city erupted in a chorus of voices, singing along, their hearts free. The Enforcers, taken aback by the overwhelming spirit of the people, faltered, and in that moment, the Echoes knew they had not only reclaimed music but had also ignited a revolution. In a world where silence had once ruled, the sound of their long, white hair dancing in the wind became a symbol of hope. The Echoes had transformed from mere musicians into legends, and with their music, they would continue to fight for the freedom to be heard, one note at a time.